Yotam Cohen. Mr. Cohen's brother Nimrod is a soldier who was captured near the border on October the 7th. Before that, just a brief outline of what we understand to be the deal. In total, Hamas and other Gazan terror groups are thought to be holding 98 hostages, including possibly the bodies of at least 36 confirmed dead by Israel. Of the remaining 62, very little is known about their condition, and it's possible, regrettably, many could actually be dead. On the Palestinian side, more than 10,000 are held in Israeli jails and detention camps, the majority without charge or trial or access to legal representation. This is a phased deal. First out on the Israeli side in this 6-week period will be women and children under 19, elderly individuals over 50, and injured or sick civilians. Expect 3 Israeli civilian hostages to be released by Hamas as early as Sunday. 4 more possibly follow on day 7, others released every 7 days thereafter. By the 6th week, Hamas will, hopefully, have freed all hostages slated to be released. It is thought that, in return, 30 Palestinian children or women, in a total of around 1,000, will be released of Phase 1. I'll stop there, because this is very personal for the man sitting in the studio opposite me. Yotam Cohen's brother, as I mentioned earlier, Nimrod, has been held captive since the October attacks. Thank you for coming in, Mr. Cohen. When did you hear the news yesterday?
We heard the news yesterday, just on the train here to London. These were upcoming news on the past week and past couple of days. We arrived to Europe this Sunday, but we started to getting the news before even coming here. And we knew that the deadline for closing at least the first part of the hostage deal would be the 20th of this January because of Trump getting into office. So we knew it's only a matter of time.
I assume your parents are still alive. Are they still with us?
My parents, yes.
Yes. When was the last contact they had with your brother, or you had with your brother, or any of your family had?
The last contact we had with my brother was actually the day before the 6th of October. It was Friday. We called him in the afternoon, like every other weekend where he stays in the army. And they talked to him, and he said, it's actually going to be a quiet weekend. We all the team were closing inside the outpost together. We're going to have fun, and we'll talk Saturday night. And unfortunately, it has been 15 months since.
What intelligence have you had about the condition of your brother over those 15 months, Mr. Cohen?
I think the most important piece of information was some hostages who came back from the first hostage deal. They said they saw him firsthand in captivity, and he was healthy and unarmed and could walk by himself, which is, I think, some of the best conditions any hostage might have. And we got multiple pieces of information on the past couple of months from the IDF intelligence. The most recent one from last September 2024. And we're still holding on the hope that it's still the case that he is still alive, and we'll see him maybe in a few couple of weeks.
Well, this is the thing, of course, I don't want to cause you distress, but he won't be part of Phase 1 or Phase 2 if he's young and an Israeli soldier.
We know, we're fully aware of this. But in order to achieve the second phase, we must firstly finish the first phase. I think it's simple math. And this is why we're the most vocal, one of the most vocal families in the hostage forum, advocating and protesting on the street for a hostage deal, because we know that Nimrod will not be released and will not be home until all the women and the elderly and the sick will be released. And for us, in order to do so, we have to push and push and push, and finally we're seeing results.
I don't know how I'd answer this question or the words I'd use, and I've been a journalist for more than 40 years. What's the impact been on your parents?
I've actually spoken to them yesterday on a phone call. They know the situation exactly as I do. For us, as a family, nothing has changed. We've been fighting for the past 15 months. We're going to keep on fighting until the second phase is closed and until the very moment Nimrod is home. Until that very moment, everything can change, the deal can collapse, and we will won't stop until it's over.
What sort of bloke, what sort of guy is your brother?
What sort of brother my brother was, because I simply personally cannot believe that the same brother that was captured is going to be the same brother that returns. But my brother was a quiet, peaceful guy. He was the one to support his friends no matter what, never get into conflicts. And I hope that he made friends with the other hostages in captivity, and that he's in relatively, let's say, good company with them. And I hope he keeps others safe and they keep him safe.
You mentioned, excuse me, you mentioned the other hostages. I would imagine there's like a network of some of the families, and you talk with each other. What has the impact of President Trump's victory in the United States been here? Do you lay a lot of this down to him? Do you lay it down to Biden? Where do you think the credit goes?
I think that for the most part, we looked for Biden for answers. We knew that his administration was committed for the cause. He managed to get the first hostage deal, and we were hopeful that he will manage to close another one. But as the time passed, we saw that their administration was simply unable to put enough pressure and to push Netanyahu enough for a hostage deal. Netanyahu, our prime minister. And we know that Trump is very vigilant and is very... his mind was decided, I think. And once he decides something, this thing will happen. And I think we owe him many thanks for this.
We've talked about these phases, Mr. Cohen, and we've said that your brother is likely to be at the end of all the phases. How nervous are you?
Not really nervous. I imagine that the families of the hostages who are included in the first deal simply are shaken and very anxious for the deal to actually start. But like I said before, when they announced the second phase to be confirmed, I think I might be a little more rattled. But as for now, just continuing this work, I think.
Looking forward, once all the hostages are freed, once all the deals are done, how do we move to these two groups of people living side by side? What needs to be done, Mr.
So, like you said, I think the first part for sustainable, let's say, peace and quiet in the Middle East is releasing the hostages and finishing the war. I think before finishing the war and the IDF leaves Gaza and all the hostages back home, there is no way to move forward. Once this is done, we can start the rehabilitation of the Gaza Strip. And I think we'll need the world to help us with this. The EU, the moderate Muslim countries, Qatar, the Emirates. And I think that after rehabilitation, replacing the Hamas regime and sustaining an actual beneficial regime for the Gazans and Palestinians inside Gaza, maybe we'll see a peace agreement in the near future.
You're confident all the hostages will be returned?
I'm hopeful, and I have to believe so. And I will continue to fight even after my brother returns. In the second phase, all the families are going to continue and fighting until the end of the third phase, until all the 98 hostages are back home.
Lastly, when you see your brother for the first time, physically, in the flesh, what do you intend to do?
I don't allow myself to imagine this.
Do you not?
It's too painful, I think.
Your parents? Your mother? How's your mother got through this, man, alive?
Just recently she bought him a new blanket. Said she feels like the end is near and he will need new clothes and blankets. So she prepares his bed for him to be ready when he returns. And
my goodness. All right, hey, the best of luck. Will you give my best wishes to your parents as well? Thank you
I
for
will,
coming in.
thank you.
Yotam Cohen, his brother Nimrod, is one of those hostages.